Welcome to Trials and Tribulation. Yeah, the third game in the trilogy. Alrighty. So let's jump into it right away. Turnabout memories. Oof. Arg. How did I get into this mess? Why? Why did I do that? That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business, bro. I'm telling you for your own sake, if you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. You're a liar. Stop it. Don't talk to her about her like that. And it's Phoenix Wright in college. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Sure you didn't, buddy. Liar. 5 years earlier. Mia Fey. Second trial. Whew. It's finally time. I'm kind of nervous. Oh, Miss Grossberg, good morning. Mia, please calm yourself down. You're going to get yourself arrested for suspicious behavior, you know. What are you talking about? I am relaxed, Mr. Grossberg. Look at me, I'm relaxed. Let go of my lapels. You obviously haven't got the temperament to be a lawyer. I'm sorry. It's just that I'm so nervous today. Oh, that's right. This is your first time in the big leagues, isn't it? Well, never you fear, my dear. I, Marvin Grossberg, am at your service. Actually, this is my second time in court. Still, you surprised me. What with the earnest request last night? Let me handle this case, you suddenly said, and quite forcefully, too. I just found out yesterday about the case. I mean, what? And you've already learned all the relevant facts? Well, about that, you see, I mean, of course I have, I think. Oh dear. In any case, don't let our client see you so nervous. And see the poor young man in the pink sweater over there? That's our client. Good morning there, everybody. Good morning. Try to keep smiling, Mia. I just wanted to say I'll give it all I got. Yep, it'll be fine. No problem. Achoo, achoo, achoo. Oh, what's wrong? Do you have a cold or something, Mr. Rye? Actually, it's Wright. Like the Flying Brothers. People screw it up all the time. And yes, I have a cold. That's what this mask is for. My doc says this way I won't give it to anyone else. Be kind to others, he says. Right, Mr. Wright, you have nothing to fear in court today. If you are truly innocent, I promise I will save you. Please, let go of my shirt. That's right, he's the one on trial, not you. He's the one who should be nervous. You need to stay strong for your client, Mia. My name is Mia Fey. I'm still pretty new at this lawyering thing. The first time I appeared in court was a year ago. But that trial traumatized me so badly I thought I'd never set foot in another courtroom. It's been 1 year since then, and well, here I am again. But this time I'm going to win. For my client and for myself. Court is now in session for the trial of Phoenix Wright. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense today is Miss Mia Fey? Mia Fey? Was it? Yes, Your Honor. Is there a problem? I was under the impression that Marvin Grossberg was to be leading the defense. Yes, well, you see, Mr. Grossberg had a bit of emergency. Emergency? But isn't that him standing right next to you? Yes, well, you're just a rookie. Are you sure you can actually handle this? Don't let him scare you, Mia. Give him your toughest look. Of course, Your Honor. I think. Well, Mr. Payne, your opening statement, please? Well. I can't believe a veteran like me has to spend his time babysitting a new defense lawyer. Don't worry, little girl. It will be over soon. What was that all about? Was he trying to trash talk me? Now then, I'd like to proceed with a summary of the events on the day in question. The incident occurred on the campus of Ivy's University. The murder victim was a student named Doug Swallow. He was a fourth-year student studying pharmaceuticals. It sounds like he was a very bright young man. Yes, well, next we have a photo taken at the scene of the crime. The student discovered the scene shortly after the murder. They found the victim's body. And the defendant, who had obviously bungled his getaway, then they called the police. That certainly makes the defendant look very suspicious indeed. Very well. The court accepts this photo into the records as evidence. By the way, I can't quite tell the cause of death from this photo. Hehehe. Your reputation for sagacity is well earned, Your Honor. The truth is that the victim died a rather unusual death. An unusual death? What do you mean, Mr. Payne? Well, perhaps the defense would like to take this question. A simple question. I thought I might loosen you up a bit. I am a gentleman, if you will. A what? Stand up to him, Mia. Show you what you're made of. A perfect opportunity. Well, what was it? The cause, the case. Go on. Please say you know at least that much. I'm sorry. I didn't get a chance to read through the whole file. Oh, my hemorrhoids are beginning to act up. Now see here. The details of the case are filed under the court records. But you knew that already, didn't you? The court records. I think I can see that by pressing tab. All the weapons we need can be found in the court records. Take a good hard look at the data there and think carefully before you answer me, dear. Yes, sir. I'll do just that. Got to stay calm. I can't let the prosecutor get the better of me. The court records. Okay, let's take a look. I just pressed tab here, and now then, would the attorney for the defense please answer the question? What was the cause of death? According to the court record, it was a fatal electric shock. In other words, electrocution. Electrocution? But how could such a thing happen? Did the murderer use some type of new, super powerful stun gun, perhaps? The answer to that will become crystal clear as this trial proceeds, Your Honor. But before that, there is one more vital issue. What's that? Why, motive, of course. Apparently, there was some bad blood between the victim and the defendant. Bad blood? What do you mean? Oopsies, I'm terribly sorry. You're the defense attorney, so you must know all about it. I shouldn't be stealing your spotlight like that. I really don't like this guy's smug attitude. That's Winston Payne for you. He is one smooth operator, if you catch my drift. They don't call him the rookie killer for nothing, you know. Now then, let's hear from the defense. What was the source of the bad blood between the victim and the defendant? And this time, I would like to see some supporting evidence. Evidence? No need to get all worked up over this. As I said, all our weapons can be found in the court record. Find the evidence you need and then shove it into old Graybeard's face. Yes, sir. Into old Graybeard's face. Mr. Grossberg, try to set a better example for the young lady. Mia, evidence isn't the only thing that in the court record. People's profiles are as well. You can toggle between profiles and evidence with the tab, so be sure to go over it all. Now then, let's see what we've got here. What was the cause of the bad blood between Phoenix Wright and the victim? Phoenix Wright girlfriend dated the victim, Doug's, up until 8 months. Okay. The reason for the bad blood between the two of them was this woman here, Dahlia Hawthorne. Is it? Very good, Miss Fay. You seem to have picked up on at least this much. This woman is the girlfriend of the defendant, Phoenix Wright, but up until about 8 months ago, she was with the victim, Mr. Swallow. Clearly, she has some part to play in this story. He's done it again. Before the cross-examination started, he's already got the judge thinking like he wants. Very well. Mr. Payne, please call your first witness. If it please the court, the prosecution would like to call Mr. Phoenix Wright. What, the defendant himself? Well, Miss Fay, it's fine. After all, Mr. Wright is innocent, all right? The defense has no objections. Very well. The court calls Mr. Phoenix Wright to the witness stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Oh, yes, my name is Phoenix Wright. My job is, well, right now, I guess I'm a suspect? No, he means what did you do before you were arrested? Oh, achoo. I was a university student. Mr. Wright, you understand that you are a suspect in the death of... But I didn't do it. I'm innocent, I tell you. I'm telling you, I was... Achoo. Would the defense please refrain from passing on the cold to the rest of us? It seems the witness has something he wants to say. Well then, Mr. Wright, please tell us about the relation to the victim. Right away, Your Honor. The victim and I. I admit I was there, but I'm not a killer. All I did was find his body. I hardly knew the guy to begin with. I never even talked to the stuck-up British wannabe. I see. So you hardly knew the victim, right? Like I said, I'm not a killer. Phew. It looks like the judge understands. You're being naive. You should know. You know. Too naive, huh? It seems that you've forgotten one small thing, young lady. And that would be, this witness still has to undergo something called cross-examination. Cross-examination is right, and it's the defense's duty to carry out the cross-examination. The purpose is to determine if the witness testimony contains any contradictions. Contradictions? If a witness is lying, their statement will conflict with the court records. But Mr. Wright is my client. Even if he is your client in court, all lies must be struck down. As a lawyer, that is your duty, you see. What does he mean by that? Is he saying that testimony just now? That there was a lie? A contradiction? Now then, your cross-examination, if you please. Miss Fay? Please, Mr. Wright, tell me you haven't been lying. You wouldn't do that to me, would you? I admit I was there. When you say there, you mean the place where the victim was murdered? Yeah, sort of. The place where something happened, anyways. Something? You can't hide what happened. We have photographic evidence. Achoo. Anyways, Mr. Wright, what were you doing at the scene of the crime? I thought you said you didn't know the victim, Mr. Swallows. It was just a coincidence. We bumped into each other by accident. A coincidence, huh? But I'm not a killer. All I did was find the body. You say you found the body, so who called the police? Huh? Achoo. Unfortunately, it was some other student that notified the police. Other students? That's correct. They were witnesses. Witness who saw the defendant standing there next to the body in shock. What? Is that true, Mr. Wright? Achoo. You stop sneezing every time you're in a bind. Well, it's true that I was pretty shocked when I found the body, but I hardly knew the guy to begin with. I never even talked to that stuck-up British wannabe. Mr. Wright, you stated in the following in your testimony, I hardly knew the guy to begin with. That's right. I mean, why would I even... But that doesn't sound right. If you hardly knew him, then why would you say the victim was a stuck-up British wannabe? Achoo. Well, Mr. Wright? No, it wasn't me. I'm not a killer, I swear. Mr. Wright, I will give you an opportunity to revise your testimony. How is it that you knew the victim was, as you put it, a British wannabe? Yes, well... He was always walking around with a huge Union jacket on the back of his shirt. Are you certain you saw a Union Jack? Yeah, I'm sure. It was right there on his back. Miss Faye, is there some point in the line of questioning? Your Honor, please take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing on the victim's back. Hey, wait a minute. He's wearing a leather jacket? The Union Jack was on the back of the t-shirt he was wearing. I was under the impression that you accidentally come across the body. But if that was really the case, then you wouldn't know that, would you? You'd have no idea at all what he was wearing underneath the jacket. Mr. Wright, you've been lying to me. Please forgive me. Mia, you've made our client cry. Let him. That P on his chest doesn't stand for Phoenix anyways. I can't believe I trusted him. Mr. Wright was all wrong. He. That was an impressive bit of cross-examination. Thank you for uncovering the defendant's lies for me. It's quite clear that this man did not simply stumble upon the scene of the crime. Uh-oh. Did I go too far? By the way, Mr. Wright, you seem to have a rather bad cold. Have you taken any medicine for it? Yeah, I took some, but was the medicine that you took an over-the-counter brand called Cold Killer X? Yeah, that's right. It kills colds good. Hey, wait a second. How did you know I'm a big fan of Cold Killer X? Would you happen to have that medicine with you right now? Well, actually, I seem to have lost it somewhere. He lost it? Does this even have anything to do with the case? Mr. Wright, shall I tell you where your cold medicine is right now? Huh? Your Honor, I'd like you to take a look at another photo of the crime scene. What's this? In the victim's hand. It's Cold Killer X. Yes, but even I've got a bottle of Cold Killer X in my apartment. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that argument won't work. There is no doubt as to who this bottle of Cold Killer X belongs to, especially since Mr. Wright's fingerprints are all over it. What? Sensing his murderous intent, Mr. Swallow must have picked up the bottle of medicine, dropped by Mr. Wright, and hid it in his hands. His purpose is in doing so can only be to identify the killer as Phoenix Wright. Order in the court. Your Honor, I'd like to present this photo and bottle as evidence. Very well. The court will accept them into the record. Also, the victim's wristwatch was broken. Broken? Yes, it ceased functioning when a large wave of electricity passed through it. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have some kind of explanation for all this? This is really bad. Oh, my buttocks. My poor hemorrhoids. The truth is, I went because he called me. He was in the pharmacology department, so we agreed to meet at 2:45 behind that building. We talked for a bit, and then around 3, we split up. Then later, when I went back, I found him lying there. I'd been taking Cold Killer X for the last 2 to 3 days, but I lost my bottle of it around lunch on the day of the accident. Mr. Wright, that's completely different from the testimony you previously gave us. Achoo, 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 achoo. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was afraid you wouldn't believe the truth. You'll forgive me if I say I hardly find your current testimony any more credible. Miss Faye, please begin your cross-examination. Oh, please, Mr. Wright. Don't tell any more lies. Okie dokie. The truth is, I went because he called me. Had you ever met the victim before? No, never. But that day he called me up and told me he wanted to talk to me about Dolly. And this Dolly person is my, it's kind of embarrassing. She's my, sweetheart. What was that for, Mia? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like slapping something all of a sudden. Dahlia Hawthorne was also the lover of the murder victim Doug Swallow. Before she met Mr. Wright, that is. So it was one of those nasty love triangles, I see. He was in the pharmaceutical department, so we agreed to meet at 2:45 behind that building. Was it Mr. Swallow who indicated that you should meet at 2:45? Yeah, and we were both there right on time. You said the victim was in the pharmacology department, correct? Yeah, he was studying how to manufacture and improve pharmaceuticals. Everyone called him the alchemist of IVU. An alchemist? I see. I gotta admit, it was a little suspicious. He had a whole laboratory and everything. It was filled with chemicals and strange machines that run on high voltage electricity. Oh, how fascinating. He sounds like he was quite an ambitious young man. What do I do? Maybe I should ask him for some more details. I was wondering if you could tell me a bit more about the pharmacology department. Well, okay, sure. I don't know all that much, though. A little bit early in your testimony, you said something interesting. You said the department uses strange machines that run on high voltage electricity. That's right, and they sure look dangerous. They use non-standard voltage, so there are high voltage cables everywhere. High voltage cables? Yeah, there were electrical poles set up all around the building. High voltage cables run overhead around the roof. Finally, I think we're getting somewhere. Try and get the time. Actually, that's pretty important if I remember the watch that got hit by the electricity, so... So you were absolutely certain that you met at 2:45? Yeah, pretty sure. That's the time class ends. But they're always doing experiments, so it doesn't matter much. Experiments? Yeah, those pharmacology guys are always in the lab whipping up something. Well, it looks like he's right about the time anyways. Witness, let's go on with your testimony. We talked for a bit, and then at around 3, we split up. So, what was it you were talking about? You know, achoo, 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 that maybe we should hang out again sometime. Hang out again sometime? I wish that were true. I guess not. I'm sorry, I'm bad at my job. Again. Then later, when I went back, I found him lying there. So you say you went back? Yeah, that's when I found the body. Yes, but why did you go back in the first place? Weren't you angry with him? Well, that's right, I was. Then why, Mr. Wright? Why did you go back there? I thought maybe we could make up. Achoo. Judging by the atmosphere, I'm pretty sure no one is buying this. I'd been taking Cold Killer X for the last 2 to 3 days. It's rather unusual to catch a cold at this time of year, isn't it? Yeah, I always get a little careless when the weather starts to warm up. I guess I shouldn't sleep with the window open this early in the spring. I suppose common sense is not always common. So, did anyone else know that you were taking the cold medicine? Well, I always take one after meals, so I'm pretty sure all my friends knew about it. But I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. On the day of the incident? What did you do for lunch? Huh? What does that have to do with anything? You can never be too sure. I always eat with Dolly, just the 2 of us. Dolly's homemade lunches are just the greatest. Her mini omelets are magically delicious. Youch! Why did you punch me in the jaw? Oh, I'm sorry. I just felt like hurting someone all of a sudden. I think that's enough for now. So the defendant and the victim met at approximately the time of his death. And then the defendant returned to the scene for some unknown reason. I'm not entirely convinced by his explanation about the medicine bottle either. Let me be frank with you here, Mr. Wright. Your testimony cannot be trusted. What do you mean? I knew it was too much work for a little girl. However, there is one mystery that still remains. There is, Your Honor? How the murder was carried out, of course. How the murder was carried out. Just how was the victim electrocuted? I don't believe the murder weapon has been produced yet, correct? Well, that is, you are correct, Your Honor. So how exactly was Mr. Swallow killed? If I could somehow establish how it was done, maybe I could still come out of this mess smelling like roses. Your Honor, yes, Miss Faye? I believe that if we were to piece together everything we've heard up to now, we should be able to solve the mystery of how Mr. Swallows died. That would be most impressive. Quite the brass statement coming from a rookie, but even a beginner like you must understand the basic rules of the court, yes? An attorney must be able to substantiate their argument with evidence. Of course I knew that. Actually, I totally forgot about that. Now then, Miss Faye, let me see what you've got. Show me how you believe the victim was electrocuted. As for the cause of death, I'd say this picture captures it quite well. What? But there's nothing that is even remotely resembling a murder weapon here. I'm afraid the defense is going to have to explain this in a bit more detail. Miss Faye, where exactly in the photo is the murder weapon? Well, naturally, it's right here. That's... What is that? A severed electrical cable, I believe, Your Honor. Remember, the testimony we've heard, the machines the pharmacology students use in their experiments require high voltage. And because of that, there are special high voltage cables strung up everywhere. So then the high voltage cable, yes, the high voltage cable is the cause of death. That is the most likely explanation. That certainly sounds plausible. Well, Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about that? Well, I believe some praise is in order. Don't toy with me, old man. Now, the victim cause of death may indeed have been the high voltage cables. However, I want you to think about what that really implies. The only one who could have the opportunity to use the cables as the murder weapon was the defendant. Achoo! That much is certainly true. Yes, and that's not all. We have proof. Irrefutable proof that will establish that Mr. Wright was the murderer. You do? Well, what is it? His fingerprints. Fingerprints? You mean that the defendant's fingerprints were on something else besides the medicine bottle? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, the victim is wearing a leather jacket, and as you may know, leather holds fingerprints quite well. Huh? Oh, you mean... Yes, it was quite clearly imprinted on the chest area of the victim's jacket. The palm print of the defendant's very own hand. Well, what? I can only think of one way Mr. Wright could have left his prints like this. Intent on murder. He squirrelly pushed the victim towards the severed electrical cable. Order. That's enough. I think we can conclude that there is no reason to continue with this cross-examination. Sticking a fork on us, we're done. Mr. Grossberg, my hemorrhoids never lie. The show is over, Mia. I knew that boy was guilty the first time I saw him. No, you're wrong. Mr. Wright is innocent. No further evidence is required to convince me of the man's guilt. Your Honor, at this time, I am prepared to render a verdict in this case. You have something further to add, Miss Faye? Is this what you want, Mr. Wright? You still haven't told us the truth, the whole truth. If you don't say something now, the judge is going to hand down his verdict. But I can't. I just can't. If I told you what really happened, then I'd be... It's okay, Mr. Wright. I'm your attorney. You can trust me. Miss Faye, no matter what it is you have to say, I believe in you and I'll represent you to the very end. We've already established the defendant's guilt. There is no further need for him to say anything else. Wait a minute, Mr. Wright. I'll tell you what really happened. But I've already told you, Mr. Wright. There is no need for further... I did it. I admit it. I pushed him. It's my fault. My fault that Doug Swallow is dead. That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your own sake. If you continue to see her, it's gonna be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it. Don't talk about her like that. What you just said, was that the truth? Yes, I was afraid that if I told the truth, everyone would think I was the murderer for sure. Well, as things currently stand, we're all absolutely convinced you are. But please give me one more chance to explain. This time I swear I'll tell the whole truth. It'll be okay, won't it, Miss Faye? I believe in you. Oh, thank you. I still can't believe it. You really did push the victim. Ugh, it feels like my hemorrhoids are doing the Harmland shake. That guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. I lost my temper and gave him a shove. At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A little while after I left, I started to get worried. So I went back, but he was just lying there, dead. Well, the explanation is really quite simple. When you pushed him, Mr. Swallow flew back and touched the electrical cable. He died from the shock, and that is, they say, is that. A simple explanation indeed. At the time of the incident, a light rain had been falling. Wet from the rain, the victim was more easily electrocuted. But when I pushed him, there weren't any electrical cables nearby. If there had been something like that, even I would have noticed. That's true, even a doofus like him couldn't miss that. Miss Faye? Let me warn you right now that if your cross-examination doesn't yield any new facts, I intend to deliver my verdict without further delay. Are we clear on that? Yes, Your Honor. Don't give up, Mia. If he is innocent, there must be some kind of evidence somewhere that proves it. That guy, he was talking bad about Dahlia. So what kind of things did Mr. Swallow say to you? He said all sorts of terrible things about Dolly. He said that she was a bad girl. Is that all? Yep. Well, Miss Faye, you heard him yourself. Oh boy, you're not doing yourself any favors here, Mr. Wright. Please don't make this harder for me than it is already. Anyways, after he said that, I lost my temper and gave him a shove. At the moment, I heard a loud noise. A loud noise? And what would you say the noise sound like, Mr. Wright? I'm not sure, but it was really loud. It was like snap. You know, come to think of it, I wonder what that was. Clearly, Your Honor, it was the sound of the victim being electrocuted. You're not qualified to decide that. What should I do? I'm treading on some dangerous ground here. Mr. Wright, that loud noise you heard may be extremely important, so try to remember what it was. How do I put it? It was like a sharp crack. Could it be? Could it have been? Yes, could it have been? Hurry up, tell us. When I pushed him, he dropped the umbrella he was holding. He fell right on top of it and broke it. That was probably the noise I heard. An umbrella, huh? And did that umbrella belong to the victim? Yeah, it was plastic umbrella, cheap and frail, kind of like the owner. Then again, I wish I had any umbrella I was totally soaked to the bone. Miss Faye? What do you think? Is there something important in that testimony just now? Well, of course it was important. This is it, Mia. The new information you've been waiting for. Of course it's important. No, this cheap umbrella is more than important. It's vital. I want to officially have it entered into the testimony. How perfectly fitting. Flimsy information for a flimsy lawyer. The court agrees to the defense request. Witness, please add the bit about the cheap umbrella to your testimony. So Mr. Swallow fell on top of his umbrella, and you are certain of this? Yeah, it was right there under him. Actually, if it hadn't been under him, I was planning on borrowing it myself. The umbrella, you mean? Well, yeah, you see, I was wearing this sweater here. Dahlia stayed up all night at the time, knitting it for me. I didn't want to rain dampen the handmade symbol of her love. Oof, my stomach is not to be used as your personal soccer ball, Mia. I'm sorry. Continue with your testimony, witness. Why didn't you testify about the umbrella from the very beginning? Come on, if I had mentioned that, I would have been able to counter the prosecution's argument earlier. What do you mean by that? Take another look at the crime scene photo. According to Mr. Wright, the victim fell on top of his umbrella. However, if you look closely, the umbrella is nowhere near the victim. Actually, it's by the electrical pole. You're absolutely right. The conclusion here is obvious. After the defendant left, the victim moved from where he fell. In other words, after he was pushed by the defendant, Mr. Swallow was still alive. No! Order. The victim, he moved? Mr. Payne, the umbrella in this photo, where is it now? Well, it was collected by the police at the crime scene. I want to present it as evidence immediately. But the umbrella could have simply been blown there by the wind. According to the testimony, the victim fell on top of the umbrella. There's simply no way it could have been blown there by the wind. But I know this matter of the umbrella seems relatively trivial, but as long as the smallest doubt remains, I cannot render a final judgment. No. I must say, I still find it hard to believe that a huge hole has been blown in the prosecution's case by a defendant's testimony. Well done, Mia. Mr. Payne, what are you chuckling about? Pardon me, Your Honor. It seems I was expecting too much of a free ride. It was foolish to think I could establish guilt through cross-examination alone. I'm afraid I don't follow what you're saying. Let me guess. You have another witness. Exactly. This witness testimony will be incontrovertible. Well, who is the witness? Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Dahlia Hawthorne? You don't mean Dolly? I do, Your Honor. The defendant's very own lover is a witness to the whole thing. That's right. She was at the scene of the crime when the murder took place. What? I'm sorry to break the bad news to you, my dear. Bad news? You couldn't be more wrong. Actually, I've been waiting for this. You can't be serious. Mia, what do you mean by that? I think this is a good point for us to stop at. Court will now enter a 20-minute recess. Afterwards, we will listen to the testimony of Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Miss Faye, I'm sorry about what happened back there. It's alright. At least you told the truth in the end, Mr. Wright. Yeah, so I guess I can start to relax then, huh? Relax, my boy. You can't be serious after hiding such important facts. But the next witness is my Dolly, right? She'll save me. I just know she will. Why do you think that? Huh? What do you mean? She's the love of my life, that's why. The love of your life? Huh. Would you mind telling me more about you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne? Sure, no problem. Dahlia and I, we first met about 8 months ago, right here in the very courthouse. Actually, I'm studying to become a lawyer on the side. Anyways, one day, she and I was just bumped into each other in the reading room downstairs. That's why I really think it was fate that brought us together. As soon as I first met eyes on her, I knew she was the one for me. Oh, here, take a look at this. She gave this to me the day we met as a symbol of our love. She had been wearing it around her neck that day, but then she took it off. But before she gave it to me, she said, "I want you to carry this." So she gave it to you as a present. I see. This darling little bottle is filled with memories of my Dahlia, darling little Dolly. It certainly is a little bottle, all right. It makes me so happy. I showed it to everyone I met. I want to share my happiness with the whole world. Anyways, so after that, you and Miss Hawthorne started dating? Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she's always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now. What a strange girl asking for a present back like that. By the way, Mr. Wright, the day you first met Dahlia Hawthorne 8 months ago, it wouldn't happen to be on August 27th, would it? Huh? Yeah, it was. But how did you... This happened on August 27th, right here in the courthouse. What's this, a newspaper clipping? Let's see. Murder in the courthouse. Murder? What are you reading there? Let me see that. Oh, I see. Mia, I think I understand what you're trying to say. And I think I understand why you suddenly took such a keen interest in this case. You believe there is some connection between these two cases, am I correct? I hope you don't mind, Mr. Grossberg. I like to call you Miss a lot. I need to finish this myself. Yes, but I'm afraid what you will not be enough, my dear. I'll go ahead and look in the downstairs reading room and see what else I can find. Thank you. I want to do whatever I can to be a help to you, Miss Mia. Well, it looks like recess is about over. We better all get going. I guess so. That recess sure seems longer than 20 minutes, though. Nope. Court will now reconvene. Mr. Payne, please call your witness. This next person is someone who witnessed the crime as it happened. The prosecution calls Miss Dahlia Hawthorne to the stand. What's with the stiff silence? In my long career as a judge, I have been deceived by many witnesses. It's my job to doubt, to take no one at their word. But in your case, I must admit that you're radiant a glow of complete sincerity. I can't believe you actually said that. Oh, now then, witness, could you please state your full name? Don't worry, sweetie. There's no need to be nervous. If anyone says anything rude, you can be sure I'll cut them right down to size, and I will bash them with my gavel. I love how they look straight at me when they say that. Thank you for calming my nerves. You are also nice. I almost feel right at home. Not at all. It was nothing. If we may move on now, what is your full name and occupation? My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I'm a junior in literature at Ivy University. I just want to say it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence. The honor is all mine. No, the honor is all mine. Well, we know whose milkshakes bring all the boys to the yard. Sir, is there something I can help you with? You just go on and say whatever is on your mind. I'm sure that there must be some kind of mistake. Feeny wouldn't kill anyone. I just know it. Yes, I can see why you say that. She's going to be a tough witness, all right. It only took her 12 seconds to wrap them all around her little fingers. Now then, please proceed with your testimony. Let's hear about what you witnessed on the day of the incident, if you please. I had been planning to go back to Feeney's place after class was over. Feeney and Dougie, they were talking behind the building. Then suddenly, Dougie got all wobbly and just collapsed. That's when Feeney noticed that I was there. I went to go and find some other students and they called the authorities. I don't know what to say. According to you, Miss Hawthorne, the defendant didn't do anything wrong. Young lady, as old as I am, even I recall how hot the flames of young passion can burn. Nevertheless, it is my job to discover the truth. Please tell us the truth. But I would never. That's more than enough, witness. I won't allow this to continue. What do you mean by that? Please, just let me proceed with my cross-examination, Your Honor. I, for one, don't plan to win my case on a bunch of paper-thin lies. Hee hee. You haven't changed a bit, Mia Fey. What's this? So you two are acquainted? Yes, we've met before. Once. In any case, Miss Fey, the floor is all yours. It's good to see you again, Madam Fey. Madam, I'm no one's grandma yet, girly. Feeney and Dougie were talking about the building that suddenly Doug just collapsed. Are you saying that the victim just collapsed on his own? Yes. In other words, the defendant never touched the victim. Is that right? I was watching the whole time. Feeney never did a thing to Dougie. If I press her for no good reason, I know the judge will get angry with me. So what should I do about... Yes, let's... Feeble lies are not very becoming, Miss Hawthorne, so let's drop them, shall we? What? I would never. Miss Fey, I will not allow you to badger this witness. I believe the defense is engaged in a fishing expedition. That is, she has no supporting... Please don't glare at me like that. I'm just doing my job. Now then, Miss Hawthorne. The defendant's palm print was found on Mr. Swallow's leather jacket. It has already been shown that Mr. Wright did in fact push the victim. What? There is no need to try and cover for the defendant. It would be much better if you came out and told us the whole truth. There's nothing to worry about, young lady. Just tell us everything you saw. Yes, Your Honor. I will. If you don't mind, I'd like to revise my testimony. Looks like we're finally getting somewhere. Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie. You didn't see it? Well, I saw the moment when Dougie fell to the ground, and at that time, there was only the two of them at the scene, the defendant Phoenix Wright and the victim Doug Swallow. Yes, that's right. It didn't look like they were fighting. I didn't hear anything unusual either. So then, what did it look like they were doing? I thought they were having a nice friendly afternoon conversation. Oh, give me a break. That's why I really wasn't watching them all that closely. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? No, nothing at all, Mr. Judge. Oh, I like the sound of that, Mr. Judge. Now then, please proceed with your testimony. I went to go and find some other students and they called the authorities. When you say students, you mean students from the pharmacology department? Yes, they're all very fond of their drugs. Please try to stay on topic. So, to find some pharmacology students, you went to the labs, correct? That's what I was planning to do, but in the end, I wound up not going. A group of about 10 research students came running out of the building entrance. Somehow, they all seemed to have known what was going on. The students knew what was going on? But how could the students have known what was going on? Well, I don't know for sure that they knew what had happened. It's just they all seemed kind of excited about something. It doesn't look like I'm going to get any more info about the students. So did the students call the police? Yeah, yes. I was so panicked. Yes. Well, anyone would have been, my dear. That girl, she's telling a super obvious lie and she knows it. She just pretended to protect it, Mr. Wright. Yes, that's gotta be it. Way to go, Mia. Okay, that means I'm going to have to dig deep to find a contradiction on this one. They're planning to go back to Feeney's place after class was over. Feeny and Dougie were talking behind the building. I didn't see the moment. Okay. Okay, I was wrong. Don't listen to me. What else we got here? Okay, maybe I should have done this. I didn't hear any. There we go. You say you didn't hear anything unusual. Is that correct? Yes, that's why I was very relaxed looking at the scenery around me. That's nice, but I find that just a little odd. I have here the testimony of your boyfriend, Mr. Phoenix Wright, and he clearly testified to the effect that when he pushed the victim, he heard a sharp, loud noise. He said that? If you were really that close to the two of them, why didn't you hear this noise as well? Well, maybe that noise wasn't all that memorable. But according to Mr. Wright's testimony, it was a sharp noise, like a snap. There's no way a noise like that could have failed to make an impression. May I have a moment to answer? By all means. I know the reason why I didn't hear the noise. You see, the truth is, I had my headphones on, and I was listening to music at the time. Headphones? You mean that both of your ears were covered? The rain was just beginning to lit up, but it seemed as though Thor wasn't ready for his fun to come to an end yet. The sky continued to flash and rumble. Thunder and lightning, huh? Yes, I'm afraid of the sound of thunder, so I put my headphones on to block it out. Well, Your Honor, as you can see, there weren't any contradictions in her testimony after all. Wait a second, Mia. That testimony just now. She said something that could totally change this whole case. There's lightning. Your Honor, there is a problem with the witness testimony. Well, what do you mean? Didn't you notice? She said there was lightning, correct? Yes, what about it? Well, lightning is actually a large discharge of electricity in the atmosphere, am I right? No, now, not the time for a science lesson, Miss Faye. Yes, Your Honor. Anyways, since the cause of death was electrocution, isn't it possible that the victim died for being hit by a bolt of lightning? I must admit that the thought had not occurred to me. Just what kind of thoughts do occur to this guy anyways? This entire case is built on the premise that Mr. Doug Swallow was murdered, but that very premise itself is a mistaken. The defense believes that Mr. Swallow was, in fact, the victim of a stray bolt. It appears the defense may be onto something. Could it be that the defense was actually accidental? Alright, you did it, Mia. I'll be taking that not guilty now. He. I'm hurt that you have such a low opinion of me, Miss Faye. I think everyone has a low opinion of you, Mr. Payne. Huh? I'm not a fool, you know. The prosecution has done its research, Your Honor. We found that there were no lightning strikes on that day at that location. What? What's more, we have evidence that the electrical cables is definitely linked to this case. Evidence, Mr. Payne? Well, what is the evidence? This affiliate. And who is this affiliate? the pharmacology student who were conducting experiments in their labs that day. Allow me to read out to the court the testimony of the pharmacology students. All equipment in the lab lost power all of a sudden at around 3 p.m. that day. Was it a blackout? All of the lab equipment runs on high voltage, Your Honor. You're saying the equipment lost power because... Precisely. They lost power because of the severed electrical cable. The power outage occurred at approximately 3 p.m., which fits with the time of the death listed in the autopsy report. Exactly. In other words, the victim died as a result of touching the severed electrical cables. According to the students, the cables were very old. They were planning on having them replaced in the near future. I see. Apparently the cables had become so brittle that even the smallest bump would have caused them to break. However, there is one thing that troubles me. If the cables could have been broken by any small bump, then it wouldn't have snapped if it hadn't been bumped into, correct? Well, I suppose you could say that. Miss Faye, do you have any thoughts regarding the case of the severed cables? Your Honor? I don't like how this is looking one bit. I have to come up with something to try to regain some momentum. If it pleases the court, the defense would like to state its opinion. Well then, let's hear it. Who or what was it that caused the cables to break? It was... Phoenix Wright. On top of the This is it. This is why the cable snapped. Well, Your Honor, I believe that the only thing that has snapped is the mind of the defense. That's the one of your best lines yet, Your Honor. Ugh. Ouch, that's harsh. Please, Your Honor, give me one more chance. Well then, let's hear it. Who or what was it that caused the cables to break? Your Honor, please think back to Mr. Wright's testimony. The defendant's testimony? He said that after he pushed the victim, he heard a loud, sharp noise. Now, this happened at around 3 p.m., correct? Yes, that sounds right. Wait, are you saying that the lab equipment lost power at 2:55 p.m., which fits right in Mr. Wright's timeline? In other words, it was Mr. Wright's shove that caused the power outage. Yes, the prosecution also claims to that same conclusion, and it was the very shove that caused Mr. Swallow to be electrocuted. I'm afraid I can't agree with you there, Mr. Payne. What? That's supposed to mean? Take a good look at where the victim landed after being shoved. See the umbrella? It's by the electrical pole. That's right. The victim banged into the pole as a result of being pushed. It was the impact that caused the cables to break. Well, that makes sense. And then the victim was electrocuted. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but no, it doesn't make sense at all. If the victim was shoved into the far pole, then he couldn't have been electrocuted by the severed cables in the foreground here. In other words, someone other than my client must have electrocuted the victim. Order in the court. The lamentation of my enemy. How I've longed to hear them. It's true, the defense is absolutely correct. There doesn't seem to be any way the defendant could have, Mr. Judge, sir, may I say something? The Madam Attorney explanation. She said something that are a little different than I remember them. What the? Please, just once more. May I please testify one last time, please, Mr. Judge? Of course, it's alright. Just go right ahead and give your new testimony. This is it. She's finally starting to show her true colors. The truth is, Feeney pushed him twice. The first time was into the electrical pole, then that's when the cable broke. Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him, but Feeney caught up and crushed into him from behind. The cable snapping and Dougie being electrocuted. It all occurred in less than 1 minute. Wow, what a load of crap. So after being shoved, the victim got up and tried to run away. And that is when the defendant pushed him for the second time. I'm sorry, Feeney, but I just have to tell the truth. Am I doing the right thing? Am I, Mr. Judge? Of course you are, my dear. As painful as it may seem, you are. Now then, Miss Fay, you may proceed with your cross-examination. If I must. The truth is, Feeney pushed him twice. Miss Hawthorne, previously in your testimony, you said the following. Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie. I know. I'm sorry. I wanted to protect Feeney. So that's why you basically lied to court. I was a bad girl. I know. Mr. Judge? Yes? Well, would you please forgive little old me? Of course he won't. What you did is called Oh, come now. It was just a little white lie. We'll forget it this time, but please be more careful from now on, alright? Oh, thank you, Mr. Judge. Not at all. The judge had better be more careful himself. Careful himself. A dark alley is friendlier than that girl. The first time was into the electrical pole. That's when the cable broke. You're saying you actually saw the victim get pushed into the electrical pole. I know he doesn't look it, but Feeney can be a bit of an imp when he wants to be. Oh, really? But I never imagined that he would cause an electrical cable to break. Feeney really is scary when he gets mad. Yes, he sounds like a very dangerous individual indeed. Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him. So let me get this straight. You were happily listening to music on your headphones while you watched the scene unfold. What? Miss Fay, I'll have to ask you to stop battering the witness. I wasn't happy. I was so scared that I couldn't even move. All I could do was stand there and cheer them on. Cheer them on? What do you mean by that? Well, I wish the best for both of them, and that's how they would each give the fight their all. Okay, I think I read that wrong. That's very sweet of you to be supportive. And what happened after that? Nope, this is not my first playthrough. But Feeney caught up and crashed into him from behind. That doesn't seem quite right. There were handprints found on his chest of the victim's leather jacket. Mr. Payne, were there also prints found on the back of the leather jacket? No, there weren't. Madam Fay, may I suggest that you listen a little more carefully? I said that he crashed into him from behind, right? My Feeney wouldn't have left any prints behind in that case, would he? Cable snapping and Dougie being electrocuted. It's all occurred in less than a minute. I don't... That's enough. Witness. I'm afraid I don't understand. You will in a minute. Could you please take a look at this picture? Oh, that medicine. That's the one Feeney likes to take for his cold. It's not the medicine I want you to look at. It's the wristwatch. It stopped at precise time the victim was electrocuted. In other words, 3:05. Yes, and your point is, Miss Fay? My point is this. What time was it when the lab suffered that power outage due to the cable snapping? Well, according to the student's testimony, the answer is clear. It was 2:50. Would you care to explain to the court, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne, what exactly happened during this 10-minute interval? The defense proposed that it was during the interval that the real murderer killed Mr. Doug Swallows. Order in the court. What is this all up? This is nonsense. The real murderer? Even you can't deny that the time between the cable breaking and the electrocution are completely unaccounted for. Then who was it? Who else are you saying could have done it? I'll tell you who. There's only one person who could have murdered Mr. Swallows. Only after my client had left the scene was there a window of opportunity for the real killer. Miss Faye, is the defense ready to indict someone as the real killer? It's finally the time. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Yes, Your Honor. We are ready. Very well. But remember, if you accuse the wrong person, you will be penalized. Think very carefully before you speak, Miss Faye. Now then, Miss Faye, let's have it. Who is the real killer? It could only have been you, Dahlia Hawthorne. How can you... The defense is grasping at straws. 10 minutes passed between the time the cables broke and the time of the electrocution. What exactly were you doing that whole time, Miss Hawthorne? Were you really listening to some music while cheering them both on as they fought? I find it hard to believe that you didn't lift a finger to stop the men dearest to you. Order. Miss Faye. What? I mean, why? That is to say, Miss Hawthorne, I believe you did witness the two men fighting on that day. However, after Mr. Phoenix Wright pushed the victim and subsequently left the scene, it was you who pushed Mr. Swallow to his death by your own hands. How could you say something so mean, Madam Faye? I didn't do anything. Miss Faye, this is very serious charge you are. Your Honor, please, I have something I want to say. Achoo. What is it? Please strike everything the defense said just now from the record. What the? Are you deaf? You're totally wrong, Miss Faye. Dolly, she couldn't do something like that. Mr. Wright, get back to your seat. Bailiff, grab that man. Achoo. Leave my Dolly alone. Achoo. Sigh, that boy. He's gotten himself in way over his head. Oh, Mr. Grossberg, you're back. It seems I've arrived just in the nick of time. I found the police report on the incident in the newspaper's clippings. Thank you so much. This is exactly what I was hoping for. You'd better take a good look at it. It, details how you come to lose your boyfriend. Now then, the defense has made a very serious accusation. Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this? Well, really, Your Honor, May I interrupt you for just a moment, Mr. Prosecutor? Don't worry, my dear, I have the situation well in hand. Go right ahead. Madam Faye, are you seriously accusing me of killing my sweet Dougie? Yes, I am. Not only am I saying you murdered Doug Swallow, but you also tried to pin the whole thing on your current lover, Phoenix Wright. I told you that you should let me handle this. Sorry, please go ahead. How can you say that? I'm absolutely devoted to my dear Feeny. The notion that I would try to frame him is ludicrous. This is all just too much for my poor little me to bear. I believe the girl is trying to ask what on earth her motive would be. The answer to that lies somewhere in the police report. It must. 8 months ago, an incident occurred in the basement cafeteria of this building. And then, that same day, the two of them accidentally meet? Your Honor, the defense requests further testimony from Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Further testimony? What about? About the events of the day when she first met the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What could that possibly have to do with this case? The witness claims that she has no reason to frame the defendant. Am I correct? Well, I have evidence that suggests that she, in fact, has a very good reason. Very well, then. The court grants the defense request. Young lady, would you mind staying on just for a bit longer? Of course not, Mr. Judge. Get ready for the battle of your life, Dahlia Hawthorne. I first met my darling Feeny 8 months ago. It's like we were destined to meet in this very courthouse basement reading room. The moment our eyes met, my heart skipped a beat. We've been going out ever since that fateful day. We're so lovey-wovey, we literally make people sick. It's just jealousy, I think. Mr. Wright, do that again, you will be held in contempt of court. And now we enter the final act of our little drama. As we used to say in the days of my youth, go get her. How I met Feeny. First met my darling Feeny 8 months ago. So until that time, you had been dating Doug Swallow. Yes, am I a real fool? I know. Letting my emotions change so quickly, I'm ashamed of myself. No, not at all. Look at me. I'm infamous for changing my minds. My critics have even taken to calling me Judge Fickle. Maybe you should just look for a different line of work. Despite that, however, he's always hands down the correct verdict. That's why some people also call him the Great Judging. It's like we were destined to meet in this very courthouse basement reading room. The courthouse reading room. That's a strange place to meet the love of your life. That's not true, Madam Faye. After all, Feeny was not only an art student, but he was also planning on becoming a lawyer. I'm not talking about him, I'm talking about you, Miss Hawthorne. What was a literature student like you doing in a courthouse reading room? This line of questioning is a waste of time. It has nothing to do with our murder case. Miss Faye, I'm warning you, if this has nothing to do with Mr. Swallow's case, I have to remember the judge is on Dahlia's side. I better tread carefully. We'll keep pressing. Your Honor, if you'll allow me to some latitude, I think I can establish relevance. Please, ask her to continue on with her testimony. Very well. Young lady, I've got a simple question for you. What were you doing downstairs in the courthouse reading room? If it pleases Your Honor, the answer is quite simple. I had come to this courthouse to do some research for a paper I was writing. Lies. Miss Hawthorne, you weren't here because of your research paper, were you? Didn't you actually come here for a much more important reason? What is the meaning of that cocky smile on your face, Miss Faye? 8 months ago, right here in this very courthouse, there was another tragedy. Another tragedy? Do you mean the incident in which an attorney was poisoned? The name of the suspect in that incident is listed here in the report. And that name is Dahlia Hawthorne. What? Dahlia Hawthorne? Yes, the sweetie pie of everyone's eye, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. She was the prime suspect in a criminal case just 8 months ago. Order. This is unbelievable. It's true then. The loveliest rose can... Miss Faye, that is not fair. You can't slander my witness with... Okay, I, Wyston Payne, I can't read that fast. Mr. Prosecutor, I believe I was speaking. Pardon me. Go ahead. It's right that about 8 months ago, the police expressed some interest in me. Expressed some interest in you? Mr. Judge, sir, I know I'm under oath, so I'll tell you the absolute truth. I did not commit the crime that occurred during that incident 8 months ago. I see. Okay, I've tied the two crimes together. Now I've just got to stay on the offensive. Well done, Mia. Oh, you've already lit a fire in my heart and in my buttocks. I can hardly tell which is more inflamed, my spirit or my hemorrhoids. I met the lawyer who was poisoned to discuss something in the cafeteria that day. I left my seat for just a moment, and that's when it happened. From what I heard, it was a liquid poison that is lethal in just 2 teaspoons. Not only that, I heard it was a very special kind of poison. So you see, I'm innocent. I wouldn't even know where to get the poison like that. So that's what happened here 8 months ago. However, as you've heard from the witness testimony, she had nothing to do with it. I think the defense is just about out of tricks. I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Payne, but I'm afraid the defense has many more tricks up its sleeve today, and I'll be sure to show them to you before the end of this cross-examination. Ugh. What the... Why does the defense suddenly feel stronger? Ah, Mia, you're glowing with a true lawyer aura, my dear. That proud posture and the self-confidence, absolute smashing. Smashing. Yes, yes. I met the lawyer... What were you talking about with the defense attorney? Well, I'm sorry, but that's confidential. According to the report, you were being interviewed regarding another case. The lawyer that was killed. He said he wanted to talk about an incident I was caught up in when I was younger. Why don't you tell us what the incident was? That has absolutely nothing at all to do with this case. Objection sustained. The defense question is stricken from the record. You get involved in a little incident, you don't you? Well, I guess I was born under a bad sign. Don't worry, Dahlia. I'll protect you. You heard the man. Now, that is true love, young lady. Oh, Feeny, please. Gag. Those two really are making me ill, albeit for decidedly different reasons. I left my seat for just a moment, and that's when it happened. How long were you gone? I've already answered all those questions for the police. But if you must know, maybe 10 or 20 minutes. And what were you doing that stretch of time? Using a toilet? What are you saying, Miss Faye? Toilet? My perfect little dolly doesn't poop. You heard the defendant, Miss Faye. Better luck next time. Oh, Feeny, please. The police have already looked into the whole matter. This line of questioning is nothing but a waste of the court's time. Objection sustained. Miss Hawthorne, please continue with your testimony. From what I heard, it was a liquid poison that is lethal at just 2 teaspoons. About how much liquid is 2 teaspoons? Let me see. My bottle of eye drops say it's 1/2 fluid ounces, which is equal to 3 teaspoons. So it's about 2/3 of that amount, huh? The poison was found in the lawyer's mug of coffee. It must have been after I left the table. Someone must have quietly slipped in it. Not only that, I heard it was a very special kind of poison. A special kind of poison? How so? Well, I heard that it's almost impossible to detect. Oh, and where would something like that have come from? I'm sorry, all I know is what I overheard the policemen saying. They said something about using advanced chemical processes to purify it. Chemical processes? Well, that's quite impressive. Most impressive. The better question is, how did the criminal get something like that? So you see, I'm innocent. I wouldn't even know where to get poison like that. Or would you? You wouldn't know how to get that kind of poison. I don't believe you. What? In fact, you had easy access to that kind of poison, didn't you? At your boyfriend's lab. Boyfriend? You mean the victim, Doug Swallow? That's right. Up until 8 months ago, Miss Hawthorne was dating Mr. Swallow. And if you'll recall, Mr. Swallow was a pharmaceutical student at Ivy University. Pharmaceuticology? His laboratory contained high advanced chemistry equipment. In fact, without such equipment, the culprit could never have obtained such a rare and special poison. Well, Miss Hawthorne, it seems you have had access to such a poison after all, and that it was a matter of slipping it into the victim's coffee when he wasn't looking. The only person who could have done that was the one sitting at this very table, you. No! Order. Could it be? That's nothing but a baseless May I say something, Madam Faye? What is it, Miss Hawthorne? The amount of poison in the coffee was 2 teaspoons, correct? In order to carry that much liquid, you would need some kind of container. Well, yes, that's true. I was searched immediately after the incident took place. Quite true. In fact, the entire courthouse was turned upside down. But they didn't find a suspicious container anywhere, did they? She's right. They even mentioned that in the report. Well, you could have easily gotten rid of something like that small. Excuse me, madam, but this is the court of law. If you're saying I threw the poison container away, I think you need to show some kind of proof. Proof? Got me good with that one. Provide some evidence or I'll have to disallow this line of questioning, Miss Faye. Unless we come up with some evidence, we're going to lose this lead. The police conducted a full-body search on Dahlia and the entire courthouse, and yet the container holding the poison disappeared right after the crime occurred. If you're going to accuse the young lady of committing the murder, then where is the container the poison was carried in? What happened to it? You were forced to get rid of the container in a hurry, weren't you? And that's why you passed it on to someone that had nothing to do with the case. Someone that you knew wouldn't be searched. Who is this person? Mr. Phoenix Wright, of course. So the defendant was this witness' accomplice? Of course not. She gave the poison to him, disguised as a present. What? But that's... That's a charming little necklace. Is this a little bottle? It's really quite cute. So what about it? What does it mean, Miss Faye? The day that the witness met and fell for Mr. Phoenix Wright was 8 months ago, August 27th, the same day as the poisoning incident. Under the pretense of love, the witness gave my client a present. All for the purpose of hiding the one piece of evidence that would give her away. What? Are you saying there is a deadly poison in here? No, there is no longer any poison in that bottle. However, I'm certain if the crime lab were to analyze it, they would find a trace amount. No! Order, in the court. On behalf of Dolly, I object. But Mr. Wright, control yourself. I won't let you bully her like this. Mr. Wright, I thought I told you to stay in your seat. Mr. Wright, why? Why are you going through so much trouble to protect her? Why? But because I'm madly in love with her. Madly in love. I haven't heard anyone say that in a long time. Mr. Wright, have you ever thought about this? Why exactly would a woman like Dahlia Hawthorne want to date you anyways? Well, I guess she must be madly in love with me too. Mr. Wright, please, open your eyes. At this point in the trial, I think it should be obvious to everyone. The real reason that Dahlia Hawthorne is dating you is... madly in love with you. Dahlia Hawthorne was not and is not madly in love with you. The only thing she's after is that bottle necklace you love to wear around your neck. My necklace? Back there in the waiting room, you said it yourself. Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back. What a strange girl, asking for a present back like that. For Dahlia Hawthorne, that necklace is irrefutable evidence of her crime. That's why she absolutely had to get it back. You're lying, but you never gave it back to her. And to make things worse for her, you insisted on showing it to everyone you met. That's why she... I don't believe you. No, that's a lie. Eek. Eek. Mia, are you alright? The defendant, he's getting away, bailiff. Hurry, after him. Mia, are you alright? Yes, I think so. That boy, he went completely insane. Where's Mr. Wright? It looks like the bailiff caught him, so he should be back soon enough. Thank goodness. Oh no, what is it? The bottle necklace. Miss Hawthorne's present. It's gone. What? That's terrible. Mr. Wright must have grabbed it when he slammed into me. Foolish boy. That's the only thing that could have saved him. What in the blazes are we supposed to do now? Mr. Wright, this sort of behavior is unprecedented in the history of this court. I'm sorry. I'm afraid that your apology is not enough. Mr. Wright, what did you do with the bottle necklace? Forgive me. I'm sorry. It's okay. Just give back the necklace. I ate it. You what? You, you ate it. It was too big to swallow, so I had to chew it into little bits first, but yeah. Ugh. Ah! What the? What? What is he doing now? Your Honor, you've got to stop the trial. Mr. Wright, are you feeling okay? Does your stomach hurt? That bottle you swallowed may have had some poison left in it. It seems the defendant has proven the prosecution's case for us. Clearly, the bottle did not contain a deadly poison. How can you be so sure? I think that's obvious. As you can see, the defendant is still very much alive. As for the poison, more like a fledgling defense attorney's overactive imagination. So it would seem. No, there must be a mistake. The bottle must have not had any poison left in it. Either that or the poison must have lost its potency. There, it's all right, rookie. Trusting your client is the most noble thing a defense attorney can do. And it's heartwarming to see that you placed this much faith in Mr. Wright. But that's how it is for us on the prosecution side too. For example, I would trust the witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life. Which is why I can state that your assumption of her is completely wrong. That's enough. Unfortunately, Miss Fay, I cannot accept your explanation of the events. But why? This may be impossible for a beginner like you to understand, but in the court of law, evidence is everything. Ugh. Even after I prove so much, is she still going to get away with everything? Well, now that the suspicion surrounding Miss Hawthorne has been cleared up, I would like to proceed with the trial. Mr. Wright? I'm sorry, Miss Fay. It's totally slipped my mind. I'm really, really sorry. I know you believed in me, and I feel like I really let you down. Mr. Wright, what are you trying to say? There's something I forgot to tell you. What is it? That day, the day I met Doug Swallow. That girl, you shouldn't see her anymore. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake, if you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Last night, someone stole some poison from our lab. Poison? The same thing happened 8 months ago. A drug sample was stolen. She came to the lab that time too. It could only have been her. That girl is a thief. Stop it. Don't talk about her like that. Is it true? Did he really say that? That's ridiculous. There's one more thing. After I pushed him that day, I got worried and came back to have a look. And she was there. Dolly was right there. She was crouched down next to him. What? She told me not to ever tell anyone about it, but I'm sorry, Dolly. Your Honor, this is the defense's Miss Fay. You tell them. Dolly didn't do it. She's innocent. So Dahlia stole poison 8 months ago too, huh? If you put that together with Mr. Wright's testimony, then there's only one possible conclusion. The defense believes that Miss Dahlia Hawthorne stole some poison on the night before she killed Doug Swallow. The night before, naturally, her motive for stealing it was to kill someone. Miss Fay? If you're so certain of your theory, then let me ask you this. Mia, this is your last chance. Think carefully now. There's something that she desperately wanted to get back. Therefore, exactly who was Miss Dahlia Hawthorne planning on killing? There was one person that was standing squarely in Miss Dahlia Hawthorne's way, and that person was Mr. Phoenix Wright. Me? That preposterous. After all, it was Doug Swallow that was murdered. Well, it's true that's how things worked out. But let's remember that Mr. Swallow died of electrocution, not poison. The person that Miss Hawthorne was planning to poison was, in fact, you, Phoenix Wright. There is no one else that it could be. But how could that be? I thought Mr. Wright and Miss Hawthorne were in love. Poor Mr. Wright. This must be killing him. Hang in there. I'll bring her to justice. I swear it. As I said before, the only thing Miss Hawthorne truly cares about was that one piece of evidence linking her to the incident 8 months ago. That's right. The bottle necklace. That's all she cared about. But even so, why would she go so far as to murder him? 8 months ago, just after the fall of the attorney in the basement cafeteria, Dahlia Hawthorne could think of only one thing: how to get rid of the bottle necklace as quickly as possible. No, it can't be. It was a pretty good move she made, too. The evidence was missing for a long time. But there was just one big problem. Although she got him to hide the evidence, Mr. Wright refused to return it to her. To him, the tiny little bottle was a cherished treasure. He even showed it to everyone he met. You mean that's why she tried to kill Mr. Wright? Correct, Your Honor. It was to retrieve that piece of evidence. But that can't be true. Feeny, what a joke you are. Honestly, how can any woman ever count on you for anything? I even told you time and time again to keep your trap shut about me and that necklace. You disgust me. Miss Hawthorne, it appears that we're nearing the end of this trial. Fine, I can tell you plan on making me into a criminal no matter what I say. You are a criminal, Miss Hawthorne. We'll see about that. First, where's your evidence? It seems your sniveling little crybaby of a client has eaten the bottle as a snack. Hey, old man, are you senile or something? Why don't you say something instead of sitting there with that dumb look on your face? Miss Hawthorne, what's happened to you? Are you really that shocked? Or do you prefer me this way, Mr. Judge? With absolutely no proof, you treat a voluntary witness like she's a mass murderer. Well, I have nothing more to say. I'll be heading home now, if you don't mind. But we're not finished. Fine, then ask this nasty old hag to finish up already. I can't let her get away this time. Stop, Mia. If you keep pushing without any evidence, you could pay the ultimate price as a lawyer. The ultimate price. You'd be forced to take off your attorney badge forever, I'm afraid. No. You'd better think it over carefully, Miss Fay. Or should I say, Miss Gray. Well, Miss Fay, can you provide evidence that would establish your guilt once and for all? If I mess up here, my career as a lawyer is over. But to be honest, at this point, I don't have any evidence that's well-founded. Even so, I'd rather lose my attorney badge than let her get away with murder. Your Honor, the defense would like to present proof. Impossible. You can't possibly... Stupid woman. It is the opinion of the court that there has already been enough discussion. Therefore, I will allow only one piece of evidence to be presented. Just one? If you are unable to establish your guilt, then I'm afraid that a very harsh verdict will immediately be handed down on Mr. Wright. I understand, Your Honor. I can just imagine the headlines for tomorrow's newspaper. Up-and-coming lawyer plummeted to earth before she gets the chance to soar. She was planning on poisoning Mr. Wright. If that's the case, then the poison was probably in there. Well then, Miss Fay, please present your evidence. Show to the court irrefutable proof that Miss Hawthorne was planning on poisoning Mr. Wright. Here it is, Your Honor. The evidence that will prove her guilt once and for all. Cold Killer X, Phoenix Wright's beloved cold medicine? Does our rookie defense attorney have a bit of a cold? If I did, I still wouldn't take this cold medicine. After all, it's been poisoned. What? Remember what the defendant said in his testimony? But I lost my bottle around lunchtime on that day of the accident. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us. She was the one who took his bottle of Cold Killer X. Then she poisoned it knowing that Mr. Wright was going to take some. Now you're really grasping at straws. After all, it was the victim, Doug Swallows, that was holding the medicine. I would like the court to recall the crime that happened here 8 months ago. Where did Miss Hawthorne hide the evidence? Huh? What are you talking about? 8 months ago, the poison was hidden in her bottle necklace, which she then gave to someone else for safekeeping. Someone she had accidentally run into in the reading room with my client, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Yes, that's right. She did the same thing this time as well. After shoving the victim, Mr. Phoenix Wright left the scene of the crime. That is when the murderer, Dahlia Hawthorne, appeared. With her, she was carrying the poison bottle of Cold Killer X. This, of course, was so she could carry out her plan to murder Mr. Wright. I believe she did testify that she was going to meet with the defendant. Yes, and she heard and saw everything that happened at the scene of the crime, including what the defendant and the victim were arguing about and the cut electricity cable. That's when she realized, I can't allow Doug to live. She used the severed electrical cables to silence him forever. Unfortunately for her, this is when the problem occurred. Mr. Wright, who she thought had left the scene, came back to check on the victim. And on top of that, because of the power outage, some students showed up as well. It's hardly any wonder that she was, as she puts it, in a state of panic. Recall that she was carrying the bottle of poison cold medicine. She must have thought, what if they searched me like they did 8 months ago? 8 months ago? Yes, she disposed of the evidence exactly the same way as she did back then. She had someone else hold it, in this case, Doug Swallow. Oh, come on now, everyone. Surely you aren't fooled, are you? The stupid woman, she's nothing but a filthy, stinking liar. Right, Mr. Prosecutor? Huh? Yes, that is exactly right. It's just pure desperation. I wonder which one of us is the desperate one. So, Miss Hawthorne, this cold medicine, I wonder if you wouldn't mind taking some. Well, Mr. Wright ate that necklace of yours, right? Now it's your turn to prove your innocence. What do you say? If I'm just a filthy stinking liar, then there's no need to worry. So come on, show us. I dare you to take some of the medicine right now. Mia Fey. Do you think you've won? Well, do you, Mia Fey? That's just fine. For the time being, victory is yours. For the time being? Well, I have a very long memory, you know. And you and I will meet again. I'm certain of it. Well then, Mr. Judge, I'll see you later, too, okay? Huh? Yes. I'm going to go spend a little quality time with the men in blue now. I wish you all the best. Whew. It's finally all over. I refuse to accept this. The defense hasn't shown a scrap of evidence to support their outrageous claim. But even so, your witness seems to have accepted it. I don't care. I'm Winston Payne. And I don't believe one word that rookie lawyer has said. Well then, Mr. Payne, let me ask you this. Yes? Would you care to try this cold medicine? What? Just a little earlier, I could have sworn you said... There. It's all right, rookie. For example, I would trust the witness, Miss Hawthorne, with my very life. So, if she's so trustworthy, then I'm sure this couldn't possibly be any poison in here, right? You see, and here comes the backpedal. Come on now, rookie killer. Show this rookie how it's done. How much trust do you really have for this woman? Are you willing to bet your life? Gah. Nah. My beautiful hair. No, 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 no. Mr. Payne, about Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Yes, Your Honor. I'll file the papers for her immediate arrest. Tragic, but not surprising. I knew there was something suspicious about her from the very beginning. Don't lie, just admit you were wrong. By the way, Miss Faye. Yes, Your Honor? Was it just me, or did you and Miss Dahlia Hawthorne seem to know each other? Your Honor, whether we did or not has no bearing on this case. Very well. Mr. Payne, this can't be happening. It's a nightmare. It's like losing to my daughter. It appears Mr. Payne has lost his spirit along with his hair. Does the defendant have anything further to say? It can't be true. My dear Dahlia. Achoo! Very well then. I believe I am ready to pass judgment and bring this trial to an end. The court finds the defendant, Phoenix Wright. This court is adjourned. Mia, you were wonderful in there. Thank you for everything, Mr. Grossberg. During the verdict, I thought my hemorrhoids were going to explode like Mount Venevis. Mr. Grossberg, do you, maybe think you could stop talking about them? That's rather rude. Anyways, this case really made me think. What does it really mean to have a relationship of mutual trust with your client? Perhaps it is we veteran lawyers who have lost sight of this. Oh, Mr. Wright, congratulations. Thanks. I was thinking. Go on. The Dahlia that I saw up there on the witness stand, I don't think that was really her. What? Yeah, the Dahlia I know could never have said those kinds of terrible things. Maybe she was like, I don't know, a fake or something. Boy, this poor kid still hasn't got a clue. You need to forget about her, Mr. Wright, for your own sake. Yeah, you're right. That's probably for the best. Also, you need to relax a bit more. Try and grow up a little. But out of all my friends, everyone says I'm the most grown up. Eek, what kind of company does this guy keep? Right now, I'm starting to become a lawyer myself. That's what you kept saying. But I thought you were in the art department. Well, yeah, I am. But there's a friend that I desperately want to help. And if I hurry, then I should be able to save him in time. I see. Same, Miss Faye. A lawyer is someone who can help people when they're in trouble, right? Mr. Wright, I'm still new at this myself, but I think that's exactly what a lawyer is. Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'll study my butt off. I'll become a lawyer for sure. I hope we see each other again someday. Maybe even in court. It's been 5 years since I was acquitted of all charges. I became a lawyer like I planned and managed to save my friend. But Mia has passed on to a better place. For me, this trial brings up a lot of painful memories. But it also brings up some very precious ones. And memories that I thought would never rise to the surface again. Mia is gone now. But even so, I can hear her in my mind. Phoenix, no matter what, I'll always believe in your client. In a court of law, your greatest weapon is your belief. 5 long years. Something has happened that made me think back to her words of wisdom. That is a story for another day. Yes, we're gonna save it to this point. Alrighty. I will see you guys next time.